Hey, good afternoon, everybody. And hopefully, everything is working. It looks like it's working. We'll see if I hear from you guys in chat. I'll give it a couple minutes, wait for some of you folks to come in because, yeah, this got this was a last minute thing, as it has been on a lot of Fridays. I have a hard stop today at 5 o'clock. Got to pick up my car from the shop, and they close at 6. So I can't run any later than 5. But a lot of things to talk about. Oh, good. So I can see that people are actually hearing me. All right, so let's get started. So big top 10-ish, a lot of things to talk about. A lot of things got done. Some things are still work in progresses. The big thing is, May has been about fixing a whole bunch of bugs. We made that a priority based on all the feedback we were getting from the people who played, whether it was IT or alphas, some betas, came in during the week. And we have just been focused on bugs, and performance. So let's start talking about stuff. So number one, work in progress. Tech pathfinding, yet again, it continues. Bug fixing continues, hey, with both nav mesh generation and the pathfinding algorithm. So once again, because CU is a rather unique and special flower, because you guys and gals can build anything you want. You can put things down anywhere you want as long as it's your territory. Pathfinding, is a bit more difficult. It's not the same as something like Ragnarok or something like Dark Age, where we knew where everything was, at least in terms of permanent objects, and you players weren't putting down, entire buildings, entire towns. So that's an ongoing thing, and will continue to be an ongoing thing. Work in progress number two, tech, mesh simplifier. Partly in support of improving nav mesh generation, and largely in support of improving the building experience in Cube. Lee is putting time into improving one of our internal tools for simplifying the geometric meshes we process. In other words, you take a whole lot of blocks and you break it down into something that is much easier to display for the client. And so that's an ongoing thing. Number three, work in progress, tech, channel filter, and new installer. Andrew and George have led a significant team effort in the production of two major tools required for taking the game live. The first is an asset filtering tool, which allows us to maintain multiple test and production environments that each contain only the specific content they need to run the game. I mean, obviously, as you folks know, we have different servers that we run tests on, all sorts of tests, whether it's with just IT or IT and alpha, alpha and beta. And we need something to make our life easier, especially once we go live. So that's something that they've been working on. Work in progress, tech, store. One of the things that kind of we haven't done a lot of work on of late is the store. As you guys know, we haven't held any telethons. We haven't looked for a bunch of money from you folks. We haven't run sales, and it was time to upgrade the store. So we've been working on that. More details there. Work in progress, design, overmind. So overmind scripts can now run outside of a scenario. Now that's a big deal. Overmind, as we told you, is an important part of all the games we're going to be making for maybe forever, and getting it to run outside of a specific scenario so it can control parts of the world is kind of important because we're a world-based game. So lots of items under that as well that have been now done for Overmind. Okay, here's one you're going to like. Work in progress, tech and design, the 24x3 scenario. The RVR Battleground scenario is now fully playable and ready for testing. Initial tests have gone well, except for one thing, and that's performance. As I've been saying for the last few weeks, we had the art team go nuts. We told them to put in as much stuff as they wanted, and let's see what happened. And so we've been dealing with let's see what happened. And so Andrew's been working on that. The art team's been working on that. We're getting improvements, but we're still not to the point that we want to be. And where do we want to be? As we've said right from the beginning, 30 frames a second, large-scale battles. We can do that. Now we're making sure we can do that with tons of art as well. So that's what we're working on. Number 7 is, 8, 9 items under it. Work in progress, tech and art, ability bar customizations, bug fixes. Lots of bug fixes. So I'm not going to go into it because, hey, you can read it in the doc. Number 8, work in progress, UI art, CU, HUD, reimagination. So Mr. Koo has been working on the current HUD and exploring different UX, UI options. UX adjustments were made to help players focus on what really matters on their HUD. So again, we've been working with you folks. We'll continue to work with you folks to get a UI that you're happy with. And we want to be happy. Work in progress, number 9, tech and design and art. Progress on the devout classes. The 3 devout classes, Abbott, Blessed Crow, and Hellbound, have all received feature fixes and balance updates. So this is going to continue. Now, there's a list of bug fixes from Anthony that is, just a bit. I'm going to pull it up for me because I did not get a chance to look at this bug list before this started. But it's, a good 2 pages long of all the bugs that you folks have been reporting and all the bugs that we've been fixing. So, we've been saying that it was very important for us to give you guys, obviously a lot of input and tell us what we're doing wrong, tell us where things aren't looking right, working right, etc. And we paid attention. And so as, we said weeks ago, May was going to be heavily focused on fixing bugs, and that's what we've been doing. Number 10, work in progress, tech, distributed burst particles. Now, particle distribution is the ability to spawn a group of particles and evenly space out their starting positions. What does that mean? Mike gets to make cooler effects. More details in this, but especially since I've got a hard stop at 5, I want to skip a lot of the info that you guys can read and just focus on the main things. Number 11, work in progress, tools, content pipeline change lists. Same thing, different thing, but tied to what we were talking about above with the different channels. Once again, this is all about being able to run a live game and have very different versions, of the game running for different tests. Work in progress, number 12, tech, Q. Earlier this month, Matt fixed a few items preventing us from releasing updates to Q. The high-level goal was to make a current build able to properly load files created by the current version in the patcher. Number 13, work in progress, tech, CU shards to GCP. So we've been moving, as you folks know, stuff from AWS for GCP for a while, and we've continued work on that. Once again, this is all in preparation for a live game. Number 14, a month of bug fixes. I am not going to even bother going through these. There's a whole bunch, and there's even more. According to one of the engineers, we probably have 50 that we could add to this. We're not going to waste your time with that. Number 15, work in progress, art, placeable doors. The first set of neutral style placeable doors have been tested, and we're taking what we've learned from that and making the realm specific doors. Number 16, work in progress, art, scenario NPCs. Keep lords and their weapons have been chugging down the pipeline, just like a little train. Currently, TDD, Arthurian, non-realm aligned keep lords have finished modeling and material stages and are in the rigging and animation stages. So keep your eyes open for the next update, as the Viking keep lord will be crashing apparently onto the field. Okay. Number 17, work in progress. Art, crafted barricades and traps. I'll just skip right through that because we know what that means. Number 18, wyvern variation. 3 distinct pattern and color variants for the wyvern have been completed. Why 3? Well, come on, guys, 3 realms. 19, work in progress. Art, realm flag flare. Ooh, I said that without stumbling. Realm flags have been addressed in concept to improve their visual look. And once we get a little more work done, it will be very clear which flag belongs to which realm. Number 20, work in progress. Art, environment. Development continues with a heavy focus on performance alongside the visual aspects. I know Andrew and the art team, working on that right this moment. Number 21, done. Art, animation, corrected travel idle animations. A second pass at retargeting realm, gender, and race travel animations were done. Number 22, done. Art, animation, female travel, and empty hand combat locomotion. Number 23, done. Art, animation, adjusted cape animations. So that's 23 for the top 10-ish. Like I said, if we wanted to put all the bugs in, it would be a top 50-ish. We really, really wanted to focus this month on bugs and on FPS improvements. And while we have gotten some, we haven't gotten everything that we need. Again, it's taken us a little longer to find them. On the other hand, we told the art team to go crazy and to just, fill up the world and let's see what happens. So that's what we've been doing, working on that. And hopefully it won't be much longer. Like I said, it's a priority for Andrew. It's a priority for other people. We've made a whole bunch of improvements, but we're not quite there yet. But we know what's wrong. It's just a matter of what we need to do to improve it. So like I said, that's the top 20-ish. Time for Q&A. So, Calm Tempest, bug fixes, got to come sooner or later. Exactly. One of the things that we all know from MMOs is, and look, Mythic was no different. Dark Age launched with a lot of bugs, Warhammer launched with a lot of bugs. And what happens is, the longer you wait before you fix them, of course, the more you have coming into launch. And we just want to get rid of as many of them as we could, especially the important ones, as soon as we can. We've been pushing and telling you guys 24x3 server, 24x3 server, that's what we're going towards. And you can't do that if, you've got as many bugs as we had. And so we're taking care of that. That is one of the 2 priorities for CU. The other one, as part of it, of course, is, frame rate. Got a teaser on the next from Calm Tempest. Got a teaser on the next 2 Viking races. No, but Giants are coming next. I mean, that's what we're looking at now. Will they be the 4th stage or the 3rd stage, whatever we decide is the final stages for Giants? No. Will it be bigger than humans? Yes. What we're working on is trying to figure out just how far we can go in terms of pushing the height. Now, this wouldn't be a problem in a game where everyone was a giant. But they're not. We got everything from the Lucapans to Giants, and that, because you guys can build stuff, has a lot of ramifications. So that's what we're working on. We can scale things already in the game, and now it's a question of just how far we can go with it. Rhaegar, C-State has been talking about developing Cube into its own game at the same time. Why Ragnarok instead of Cube? Great question, Rhaegar, and a very fair one. So, we thought about that. But the problem is, when we looked at Cube and we looked at Ragnarok, the question is which would be the most, potentially the most successful, soonest. Either way, we were going to have to devote a lot of time into making it a live game. Getting up a mod like we did for Ragnarok wasn't all that hard. Taking both of those games, either one of those games, live, is much harder. We made the call for Ragnarok, quite frankly, and I've said this before, because we thought, and correctly so far, that not only the investors but other people would be more excited about it. And I don't mean players, just players. I mean other investors, I mean publishers, I mean distributors, because that's a big deal. I mean, we've been very honest, with you folks about whether it's about the Kickstarter money, whether it's about my money, whether it's about the investors' money. We tell you guys everything. It boils down to if we thought we had, which we did, a better opportunity in the short term with Ragnarok, then that's the right call to make. We want to make CU. We're continuing to make CU. We promised you the 90-day plan, and we did really well with the 90-day plan. Even during Corona world, living in Corona world, where it's been harder, every business is struggling. Well, almost every business, I'm sure some aren't, but everyone's struggling. Games are being delayed. It's just not easy. But we're not making excuses. We're not, not making the game. We focused on CU last 90 days. We're focusing on CU now. So, that's really the best answer I can give you. ICNXE, when can the general public see it in action? Oh, sorry, Caldex. Our Spirit Mages still plan for the next 90-day plan? Yes. When will we see the next 90-day plan also? We've had a few people out for various and not Corona things. So we haven't had a chance to finish it. We're going to get on that, continuing to get on that next week. Back to you, ICXE. When can the general public see it in action? We'll probably be streaming once we're ready with the 24x3, so hopefully a month. But it's all about getting performance back to where it needs to be. And actually that's the big thing, because everything else is working. Not bug-free, but it's working. Sieges are working. Buildings are working. Classes are working. So, once we get the frame rate up to where it needs to be and get some other things corrected, we should be good to go. Let's see. Yeah. Corey D, yeah, can't wait for Giants. Yeah, me too. Ron Wheeler, hi. Rhaegar, Smackhammer. So the difference between Smackhammer and Ragnarok is simple. Smackhammer was just a fun thing we did on the side. Could it have been a game? Sure, it could still be a game. The difference is, Rhaegar, that this was an opportunity that I thought we shouldn't miss. And as I tried to explain it in February, this was not an easy decision. This was not me saying, hey guys, we're all doing this. This was me talking to everybody, every one of the leadership team, then the entire company, well, then the investors, and then the entire company. There's nobody on the team who took this lightly. We knew that it was going to, anger some people, and even a lot of people. But we thought, and still do, that it was in the best interest of the company and the best interest of CU. Because the bottom line is, anything that brings in more money to the company and allows us to hire more engineers to make the engine better, to make CU better. And that's the bottom line. If we had stopped working on CU, I would expect everybody, to ask for a refund. You should, if we stopped work, to make this other game and not shut down the company. That's a whole different story, obviously, as per the Kickstarter. But if we had totally stopped work on CU and, it was a permanent stoppage, you have a right to be really mad. But we're not. We pushed the last 90 days. We want to push more. We've done anything but giving up on CU. And look, you guys have already benefited by it. We brought in extra money to the company, and it was money we needed. I mean, that's, again, you guys saw how much we raised. You saw that I put in money and the investors paid money. So, we needed more to keep the company going and to, continue to make CU. That's no surprise. I said this in February. I said it last year and before then. So, yeah, it wasn't an easy decision. It was not one, as as Andrew or anyone else could tell you, especially those I talked to in the beginning. I wanted to be talked out of it, but everyone was honest and they told me what they thought, and so we went ahead with it. So, short question, long answer. Caldex, is there a test this weekend? I don't think so. We still are having those performance issues. Andrew's looking at it. I mean, right this minute, before I went into stream, we were in the build. Andrew's looking at it. Art, is looking at it. The only thing right now, as far as I know, that's holding up a big weekend test is we just don't have the frame rate that I would like us to have. And, it's fine on my machine. It's fine on 20 series. It's fine on high 10s. But most people do not have that. You've got people coming in at low 10s, 9s, and even 7s. So most of the people there who, by now are really on 9s. And I just want the performance higher. That's it. As soon as we're back to where we were, we'll be holding the test. Purple Polo player. Hi. Well, thank you. And thank you for the team. Hambone, salutations as well. Calendar. So there's a test in a month. No. What the 20 calendar? It's a 24x3 server is a whole different story. The 24x3 server, again, that's the server that is running 24 hours a day over the weekend. That it's not a test. We've been testing during the week. We're going to test next week. The 24x3 is something we start on Friday, and it runs through Sunday, and it has to run oh, okay. No problem, Calvex. It has to run on its own. Otovic, with Giants, I can see spells that can alter size being very useful, powerful. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that you have to get right with the Giants. If we just make them a little bit bigger than men, that's no big deal, right? Oh, great, it's a little bit bigger because we can already go short. The question is just how big can we go, and that's what we want to figure out. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. Because I know it seems simple because you're going to say, oh, just scale it up. It doesn't work that way. Because, yes, we can just scale it up, but you have hitboxes. The physics capsules don't work properly. You have, obviously, doors of all sorts of things where your size really does matter. And so we have to make sure that that's going to work when we scale you up. Anything above 25%, 50%, how big can we go? When we were doing some tests, with Ragnarok, we scaled up Giants to, they were just ridiculous. I mean, it's a one-line, essentially a one-line change. So it was kind of easy to do. But there were a lot of issues, which we saw. So we need to get that right for CU. Certainly now, it's not all that important for Ragnarok. It was just a great place to test it. But it is super important for CU because we have the giant races. So, we're focusing on that. We definitely want another race pair, coming up during the 90 days. Black Fire Dragon, if you had the opportunity to do a complete overhaul of Dayak or Warhammer, which one would you do? Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. That's a Warhammer, I think. So, you look at Dayak, and you look at whatever mistakes we made as a team. We were a small team, underfunded, tight deadline, and, even though I'm not speaking to a couple of the guys from the team, only a couple, everyone, including them, worked their asses off. And we delivered a great game. Buggy, sure. Unfinished, sure. But it was a miracle. I mean, and I say that with all humility, because if you go back to when we announced it, we were being mocked by everybody. I mean, We were mocked on the vault. We were mocked, by publishers. Nobody thought that this little team in Virginia could do what, we said we could do. So it's testament to the effort that every member of that team made, and I mean everyone. You've heard me say this before, that game was a team effort. So overhauling it, I think, would be a bit of an insult. Warhammer's a different story. And let me say why. It's nothing to do with the team. Overall, the team worked great. They gave us everything they had. They just did. The overhaul would have been some decisions that were made, both pre and after EA, that I wish I could take back. Some of them were out of my hands, obviously, like when to launch. But that game should have been better. It's not that it was a bad game. It wasn't. It had some brilliant bits in it. And not just the things I came up with, the things that the rest of the team came up with. It's not about, oh, look, Mark, you did this. I don't know. The thing is, the team worked their butts off there as well. And I think the overhaul of the game would do them a better service and credit than the Day Up team. So hopefully that makes sense. Great question. I'm not asked that a lot, or I don't know if I've ever actually been asked that, so thank you for that. Rhaegar. Yeah, I know. So you had no problem with the business's decisions. The problem was not telling you. And I get that. The thing is, and look, and I've lost, one of our guys who was part of the mod squad, did great work for us. And he was, and is still mad at the fact that they weren't brought in either. And I get that. And I get that. And I've apologized. I've apologized to you all. But the fact is, we couldn't. And we didn't lie. We kept working on CU like we said we would. But we were also working on Ragnarok. And if we had said that, and I ask you to think about this for a moment, if we had said that 2 months into it, people would have been even angrier. And the answer, and the reason why is because it would have looked like we were stopping CU and we were going to work just on this game, on that game. And you wouldn't, most people I don't think would have believed me any more than they did in February. But the fact is, we did continue working on CU. We then continued to work on CU. And, when you're running a company, there are times where you can tell people everything. There are times you can't. We didn't lie. We did not stop work on CU. We did not, do anything like that. We continued. We just didn't work. We didn't put in quite as many hours. But as we detailed, the vast majority of stuff for Ragnarok is in CU already. It's the engine. It's a mod. So, I get why people were and still are upset. And I have no problem with them being upset. I understand why they were and still are upset. But look at what we've done over the last 4 months. Even here, living in Corona world, where I've got people who are having hard times at times dealing with this, and we're all dealing with it. We haven't slowed down. We haven't stopped. We haven't done anything except continuing to work, as we said we would, with a focus on CU. And so if people want to still be mad at me, I get that. But the fact is, look at what we've done over, the last 4 months, almost 4 months now. Look at what we've done since February, and look at what we've done since I, talked about the 90 days. Didn't have to do that. Didn't. But we did because that, that was the right thing to do, just as what the decisions we made were the right things to do. So, again, Rhaegar, I understand why you and other folks are mad, but look at what we've been doing. Look at how we haven't been focusing on Ragnarok. Like I said, we weren't. Look at how we've been focusing on CU. Like I said, we would. And so you have to all decide for yourselves, whether that means more than, not being told right away. And frankly, we did tell you fairly quickly, if you think about it. 6 months, after we started work, we told you folks about it. So, you know, it's up to you guys and gals, but we've stuck to our plan, and we've continued to work on CU. We've continued to work on the engine. We found time for Cube. I think that shows you, hopefully it shows you our commitment to the backers. Okay, continuing. Caldex. Yeah, this is exactly my question, are one of my issues. Are you concerned about giants being excluded from cube buildings? Yes. Absolutely. You know, and we talked about this, I think, during the Kickstarter, that, you know, if we can build buildings any size, right? Wouldn't the Lucapans build smaller buildings to make it harder for people to get in them? Yeah, they should. They would. So whether you're building a Lucapan-sized building and regular-sized people can't get in, or you're building a regular-sized building and giants can't get in, that's an issue. So, yeah, that is something that we are concerned with. So, Fango, did MJ just say size really does matter? Yes, yes it does. For this game, it really does. Corey D is a question of, do you want a giant to be able to block a whole doorway? Absolutely. That's, you know, that's part of the plan. I mean, when you've got a game where you can build your own buildings and size does matter, being able to block things does matter. You know, we have collision. You know, we've been saying that from the beginning. You don't walk through, you know, other people. You know, that stuff is kind of important. Sure. Okay, Rhaegar, continuing. During the good news announcement of Ragnarok, you told the world that you wish you had thought of making another game. Oh, that was this game. That was Ragnarok. I wish I had thought of it a year before. Absolutely. And, you know, I can explain it just the way I did then. Sorry, I obviously wasn't clear enough in February. If I had that idea a year ago, I would have done the exact same thing. And now, why is that a big deal? Well, because it's a year earlier. It's really that simple. I think what we're building with Ragnarok is a great game, potentially a great game and a great brand. What I think we're building with CU is also a great game. It doesn't have the same brand appeal, but it doesn't need to. That's not what we were going for. And so it still would have been a great idea a year before. I just wish I had had it sooner, that's all. It really, there was no deeper meaning other than, yeah, when you have a good idea, the sooner the better. Continuing. Peter Sweeney, Warhammer PvE could have been great if it focused less on the WoW style quests and more on the public quests. Yeah, I mean, so bit of background on that. The reason for most of the quests being, you know, I guess you can say WoW style, but that's taking a little credit away from the other games, including Muds, who had quests. But that's fine. The idea was, of course, that public quests are there especially for when you have a lot of people, whereas a lot of the other quests could be there when there weren't as many people, and for the people who didn't want to partake in the public quests. And I think that if we had had more time, we could have done some things for the public quest system that we just didn't have time to do because, you know, we launched when we launched. And so, you know, in a perfect world, with more time, fewer bugs, more public quests, less WoW-style quests, absolutely. But you have to get those public quests down to the point where they can be things that a player can solo, right? Because that's the thing about, you know, standard quests is that the majority of them can be done solo. And so that's the tension, right? You know, and then you have the problem with what if you want to scale it way up? You know, what happens to the public quest system? Does it really hold together? You know, can it support what you need it to support and still be challenging and fun? I still think, and I said this at the time, that, you know, public quests and, you know, the concept around them I think should have been one of the most important things to come out of Warhammer. So I think they've been obviously used, by other games, and probably not as well as they should have been, but the same is true for us with Warhammer. So I think that's something we're going to see continue to evolve over time. Okay, continuing. Rhaegar, I get it, but I don't think you were being treated better in the beginning. Let me explain. Over these last 7 years, we have never come to you guys and sold stuff, right? We haven't been trying to raise money. We haven't done the things that other games do. We're treating you exactly the same. We haven't, changed a thing. Look at our website. Why are we doing a store? Because we haven't updated it in forever. When was the last time I added a tier? We haven't. So, be upset. You have every right. And I'm telling you, I'm being supportive of you being upset about that. But keep in mind of all the other things that we continue to do for you and all the backers, right? So, you can be upset about that. I get it. But don't say, we were treating you better. We didn't. We're treating you the same. And even more so because you guys would be hard-pressed to find a single other Kickstarter that when, money got tight, that wasn't doing everything they could to raise money from the backers, right? You've seen it. You saw it in, when Chronicles, which just shut down, obviously, where, they went out and were trying to sell things right before they closed. We have never done that to you folks. Never. Not once. So, be upset about Ragnarok. Again, I'm good with that. I really am. I wish you wouldn't be, but I'm good with it. But we have done more for our backers in terms of continuing, dialogue, testing, feedback, not trying to sell you stuff. I mean, I urge you, Rhaegar, please look at all the other, Kickstarter games, and especially the ones that were very late or are very late. Have you seen any developer not try to raise more money? We're one of the few, if not the only. So keep that in mind, please. Fanglo, will giants have naturally more larger carrying capacities? Yep. Gelfred, would you add Lucapan tunnels for them to hide if you could? Yeah, I would. I wish I could. That's absolutely something I would like to do. We would need it for Cube if we wanted to turn Cube into a Minecraft style game, but it's just not been a focus. Terrain's terrain, and we haven't, really spent any time at all in terms of digging it out. Odovic, how's the team? Any changes, updates? Always changes, always updates. We do the same thing that we've been doing. We don't talk about if people leave in general. We don't talk about much if we bring in people. We're interviewing lots of people. Same. We are very consistent about that. Iggy, can you make a dinosaur game with the CU engine? We could if we wanted to. It's not something I'm focused on. I think, obviously, the Wildcard did a really good job, with their dinosaur game. Though I like dinosaurs. If I had a choice of what game I would make after we were done, with CU and Cube and Ragnarok, yeah, I know exactly which game I would want to make, and you folks have heard, this before. I'd love to make a space game. I wanted to make, a space opera game forever. I mean, literally forever. So if things went extraordinarily well, and we had the time to, start on another project, I certainly would. go into space. Our engine would be great for that. Because we could have those kind of epic battles that we've seen in certainly Star Wars. We just don't have the time, and I couldn't. If I thought that I could, justify that, I certainly would have, but I couldn't. I mean, that would be an example of me doing something that's counterproductive, for CU. Whereas something like Ragnarok, something like Cube are not counterproductive. They're all part of the same engine. They're part of the same style of game, even if there are differences. Like obviously Ragnarok is more action and Cube is about building. But it all fits in. It all fits in one way or the other because, oh gee, what's the difference between an attack that happens quickly and an attack that happens slowly? One happens quickly and the other happens slowly. It's still the same ability system. It's still an attack. So it all helps. Let's see. Sigan Gibbs, Imperator. Yeah, that would have been fun. I wish we could have gotten that right during development. I just wasn't confident. It wasn't exciting enough in terms of the moment-to-moment gameplay. And I didn't think we had a winner. And so, as much as I hated to do it, I killed it. Wouldn't mind trying again, but I think I would do something totally different. Wade, are there going to be hitboxes in this game on character models? Will small races be harder to hit than giants? Yeah, absolutely. The whole point with giants, of course, is that if you're a bigger target, you need to be harder to hit, right? And, even with a game that's tab targeting, there are things that aren't, tab targeted. And things have to work properly. We have to have the physics capsule telling us that, oh, yes, this fireball that, I just sent at the character actually hit the character. So, no matter what, it has to work. Even if the vast majority of attacks wouldn't use them, if you were playing a WoW game with tracking spells, the fact is we have things that don't track in that way. And so, yeah, it's got to work. It's absolutely got to work. So, again, it's small won't be a problem. Smaller won't be a problem. Bigger won't be a problem. The question is how big, can we go? Would you make your game third person versus first person? I have no idea. Honestly, I haven't thought about it that much. I tend to prefer first person for a space game, but who knows? Rhaegar, can the CU engine make the world's first MOBA MMO? Sure. I mean, the thing about the engine, and you've seen this in action. We can scale the thing up. We can scale the thing down. You look at, Ragnarok, where you only have 4 players, but a ton of NPCs. So could you make it a MOBA? Sure. Absolutely. And being a MOBA MMO, if you really wanted to try to make something like that, yeah, why not? The engine doesn't care. I mean, I say that a lot to people. The engine doesn't care whether it's 4 people, 40 people, 400 people, 40 NPCs, or 400 NPCs. You've seen it in action, in the Cherry Keep test, where we went, crazy, with blocks, thanks to Travail, and lots of, NPCs and lots of, trebuchets. Or you've seen, Ragnarok, which has a much smaller number of players, but a ton of NPCs. And then you meet in the middle with the things we're doing on the RVR island right now. So, yeah, the engine doesn't care. And that was, again, one of the points that I was trying so desperately to make. And obviously I didn't make it well enough with, the Ragnarok idea, was that it's just a mod to the engine. It's not like we built a whole new engine or a whole new game. So it's just a mod. And so, yeah, the engine scaling, it doesn't matter. Dagamus, are there any plans to make Andrew go through a proper beard trimming course, or perhaps steer him towards a proper barber? I don't. If you could see my hair, what's left of it on top, well, especially when I wake up in the morning, where I'm like, I think there's a whole lot of us who need haircuts and beard trimmings, but unfortunately, Virginia is not a great place to be right now. We've got way too many new cases and lots of deaths. And we're not that huge. I mean, physically, we're a good-sized state, but it's not like we have this tremendous population like California. And if any of you saw any of the photos from Ocean City, Maryland, over Memorial Day, you'll know why we have the cases we have, and we'll have more. I don't want to go on a public service announcement of why we should all wear masks. Free speech, First Amendment guy that I am, no, I wear a mask. We all wear masks, when we go out. It's just, even if you aren't worried about yourself, it's nice to be kind to other people just in case. But yeah, I would expect we're going to have more, cases coming out, real soon. Tagging this. He just needs guidance. Yeah, well, he's probably watching the stream. Let's see what happens if he jumps in. Though I hope he's still focused heavily on performance. 12-minute warning, guys. Like I said, I've got a hard stop at 5. I have to get out of here and get my car before the shop closes. So, I will absolutely be out of here at 5. What else can I tell you? I'm looking for more questions. Again, we got so many bugs fixed. So many bugs fixed. I'm very proud of the amount of work the team has done, over the last 4 months. It's been hard on all of us. Nobody is enjoying it. I mean, all of us, the whole world, not, just the folks at CU. It's been hard. But look, everyone's doing their jobs, and we've, done a great job, all things considered. We have some wonderful people who work for us, and, we want to continue doing things. I'll skip down to you, Rhaegar. Oh, you're welcome, man. Look, like I said, you're upset, other people are upset. I totally get that. And I've never been the guy who will sit and ignore the tough questions or not try to be honest. I just urge you and anyone else to look at what we've been doing over the last 4 months in terms of, sticking to our promises, telling you we were going to focus on CU, and it's all there. It's all there in black and white on the sheets, and then you can see it in the game. So thank you for still being patient with us. I do appreciate it. Corey D, how worried are you about implementing the veil when the time comes? Yeah, I'm not all that worried about it, actually. And why not? Because at the end of the day, the veil is a fairly simple mechanism for doing things. It's not going to be so, on the scale of difficulty, being able to have a 9.4 million plot building and destroy it real time, that's kind of up here. Getting the veil right, that's kind of down here. Getting the stealthers right within the veil, that's a bit tougher. But I think we're going to get that right. I'm really not too worried about that. Jay, Mage Storm 2 plays. Don't you mean, well, I guess you could say Mage Storm 2 versus Spellbinder. But yeah, would not mind. Love me Mage Storm. Tareen, will Shields be in the game in the next 90-day plan? I don't know. We'll see. Oldovic, question. I'm guessing RAG will come out before CU, so how is RAG coming along? Does it have an estimate yet? I'm not a RAG hater. I'm a RAG neutral. That's fine. So the bottom line is, will it come out before CU? Most likely. I think it's a pretty safe bet. But keep in mind that one of the reasons, that's the case is because it's a much simpler game. I mean, CU is a complicated bear of a game. Ragnarok is its, cute little, cup. It's not, it's not as difficult. It's not as complicated. It's not as, everything that CU is. CU's a bitch and a half, guys. We knew it was. And we're not, one of the things you should also all keep in mind, that we haven't tried to simplify CU just because it was difficult. So, again, when you're thinking about things and comparing the two, remember, we're sticking to the plan with CU. We haven't tried to early access it. We haven't tried to MVP it. We haven't said, oh, guys, we're cutting stuff down. We're just doing our jobs and working to get it done. So keeping that in mind. Does it have an estimate? No, it doesn't. We want to, have it out certainly, this year, as we've been talking about. Nothing's changed, but we're living in Corona world. So could something change? Of course. It's Corona world. For all we know, we get a second, wave, and all of a sudden schedules get, just knocked into a cockpit. Do I expect that to happen? Of course not. But I don't want to be the guy who says, oh, yes, it's absolutely going to be finished. It's going to be done. It's going to be in a box, ready to go by this date. And then something like this happens. Because, look, let's go back to last May. I don't think there were a lot of people who thought that we were going to end up again in Corona world and living in some cases, under a very strict quarantine. So the long answer to the short question, I have 7 minutes, is that yes, it is supposed to come out sooner. Yes, it is supposed to come out this year. And yes, it's a much less complicated game than CU. Continuing downwards. Ash Merit, I'm testing my alt, felt slow and detached. Am I alone in the feeling? Yes, at times it feels that way, certainly, and we're working on that. We have some other things that I've been talking about with the art team to make the characters feel, more, I don't know what the right word is, because something you don't feel alive, but just feel, and again, attached is not, I know what you mean, more immersive, might be the right way, but I agree with you. Going down, if I miss anything, please ask again, but I'm running out of time here. War Chan, since she just got here, what are the current expectations for access time for beta? As soon as we can, we want to have the 24/7 server running over a weekend. That's the whole weekend. Sorry to be quick right now, but again, running out of time. Gelfred managed to find more time to play more games during lockdown. Now, the first month I actually got some, decent time in late at night playing Subnautica below zero. I haven't touched that other than maybe 2 hours in months. I am easily in 80-hour weeks, and so I just haven't been able to play a lot. Sigan Gibbs, I noticed the Dayak had a surprising number of really obscure mythological references. Were there hardcore myth scholars on the team, or did you just do a deep dive? Both. We had people like myself and others who really, loved mythology, some who loved, the mythology of the realms that made up Dark Age. So, we were absolutely trying to find obscure legends, stories. Laurie Hyrup did a great job with us. Everyone did it. If anyone who was touching that sort of stuff really helped out. Matt Hallman, hello, Mark. Long time no see. Hello, Matt. Sorry you just got here because I only have 4 minutes. Corey D, great question. Is there a possibility you'll have to simplify the world in terms of art stuff to get the FPS back where you want it? Hopefully not. Achilles, hey, I've been seeing your posts under your name on YouTube, and then somebody who's either you or someone else saying the exact same thing. all over our YouTube videos. So, great. Continue to slander me because that's what you're doing. So, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself posting with all our videos and say we have nothing to show for it. But all the people who have been playing the game know differently. So, thanks for coming in to try to disrupt our stream, just as you've been doing to, all the videos we put up. So, great. I'm glad you got a hobby for yourself. On the other hand, everyone else who's been playing the game and seeing both games, as well as Q, can say we have, quite a lot to show for it. So, I'll leave you with that. And if, you don't believe it, I don't really care. Because, our folks, oh, no, that's fine. He's been trolling us, Peter. He trolls all our videos and, probably has a sock puppet or two who says the exact same words. And, whatever, it's slander. Go ahead. It's your choice. Because the bottom line is that I got 2 minutes. We have a lot to show for it. We have people playing every day. So, and on the other hand, if you can, Achilles, show me an engine that can do what we can do with a couple thousand things in a battle, then great. Because guess what? We show that every day to people who are either playing Ragnarok or when people come into a little game called CU. Okay, let's see. Anything else? Okay, I've got a minute. And so, Suicide Run. Oh, thanks. Look, I've been trolled forever. I mean, by some really great trolls, too, back in the Vault days, for God's sakes. So, it's something I'm used to. It's something that's throughout my entire career. I've had people telling me I can't do what I said I can do, from making the first online games, to then Mythic, to Dark Age, to Warhammer, here, so whatever. I know what we can do. Hey, Fubu-Boo-Boo. You are most welcome, and that's it for now. I've got to go. And yes, Jen, they can't compare to the old Vault trolls. They were amazing. With that, look, folks, as always, we thank you for your patience. We thank you for your support. It's going to be rewarded. It's been rewarded. It will continue to be rewarded. Please, 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 whatever you do, even if you're mad at us, stay safe, stay unaffected. And unlike some of the people out there, please be kind to each other. Try to be kind to each other. Try not to get stressed. I know how hard it is for all of you. I know how hard it is, for my team, how hard it is even for me. But we've got to do our best. We are, for better or worse, we are all in this together. And we have to do, everything we can do. So my best thoughts to everyone here and to everyone who's going to see this video later. So, if you see it today, have a great weekend. Look out for, again, more testing next week. I'll keep you posted if there's, a sudden breakthrough on frame rate. Like I said, Art and Andrew are looking at everything right now. But most likely we're going to be doing some serious testing on it next week. So that's it. Take care. Must go. Bye all.